A single phone call could vaporize $30 billion overnight. That's the bombshell Ryanair, Europe's ultra-budget airline giant, just dropped. In a stunning move, the carrier is threatening to cancel its massive order of 330 Boeing 737 MAX jets. A deal valued at tens of billions. The tremor hit U.S. factories hard and handed China's COMAC a golden opportunity to step into the global spotlight. At the center of this firestorm? New tariffs. President Donald Trump has unleashed fresh levies, while Brussels is arming itself for a $35 billion counterstrike. Suddenly, the world's cheapest plane tickets are caught in a high-stakes geopolitical brawl. Stick with us till the final minute because we'll break down exactly who still has the fuel to fly and who's headed for a crash landing. It all started on June 4th. President Trump ignited the powder keg by doubling Section 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum, raising them to a staggering 50%. These two metals are essential for every part of the 737 MAX: wings, fuselages, seat tracks. That stroke of the pen instantly jacked up Boeing's raw material costs. Aviation expert Richard Abalafia warns the situation is spiraling. Prices for castings and titanium parts have already climbed 40% since 2021, and this latest move could devastate aircraft manufacturers already struggling with inflation. Internal projections say these tariffs could push total production costs up by high single digits, enough to wipe out Boeing's already slim profit margins on each jet. Brussels fires back. The response from the EU came with lightning speed. Brussels is preparing a €21 billion retaliation list, targeting spare parts, maintenance contracts, even seatbelts. And that's just phase one. If negotiations stall, a second strike worth €72 billion is ready to deploy, targeting engines, landing gear, and whole aircraft. Not only would that squeeze Boeing's European business, it could throw summer travel schedules into chaos. Ryanair draws a red line. Over in Dublin, Ryanair read the tariff warning loud and clear. CEO Michael O'Leary penned a no-nonsense letter to Congress, threatening to scrap the $30 billion Boeing deal if the tariffs trickle down into the final cost. "We pay list, not levies," his memo declared. For Ryanair, already selling seats at rock-bottom prices, any uptick in cost is a direct hit to passengers. The airline now warns summer fares could rise by mid to high teens. On a €59 Dublin to Barcelona flight, that's an extra €8 or more each way. And it gets worse. Analysts from Sirium Ascend say multi-leg trips will suffer harder blows, since each flight segment multiplies the tariff effect on spares and maintenance. The domino effect. Suppliers are reeling. GE Aerospace and RTX say they're staring down hundreds of millions in extra tariff costs for 2025. They've already hinted at customer surcharges to offset the damage. If those costs stick, every CFM-powered MAX flying to Europe becomes pricier than Boeing's catalog promised. Now, Boeing faces a brutal dilemma. Absorb the cost and watch profits evaporate, or pass it along and risk losing one of its largest low-cost buyers. Choose wrong and market share bleeds away to Airbus or worse to China's COMAC. Enter the Chinese wild card. Michael O'Leary has added a new twist. He told Reuters Ryanair might order the COMAC C919 if it's priced 10 to 20% below Airbus. That statement lit a fire on Capitol Hill. Congressman Raja Krishnamurti warned the move could hand Beijing control over a critical aerospace supply chain, posing a serious national security threat. But there's a problem. The C919 can't fly in Europe yet. Aviation regulators say certification won't happen until at least 2028, possibly 2031. And even if it clears that hurdle, production is painfully slow. Only about 30 airframes in 2025, a week's output for Boeing. Worse still, the C919's core systems are Western-made, from GE engines to Honeywell avionics. If Washington blocks exports, COMAC's entire line could stall overnight. Switching costs are massive. Even if Ryanair wanted to pivot, the logistics are daunting. Over 95% of its 594 jets are Boeing 737s. Switching to the C919 would mean new simulators, retrained crews, spare parts hubs, and rewritten manuals. That would claw back any price savings long before passengers see a discount. But that's not the point. O'Leary knows this is leverage. Even a symbolic order would shatter the Boeing-Airbus price wall, and force both to compete harder. Wall Street calls that negotiation. Passengers might call it relief. But leverage cuts both ways. If Ryanair bets on COMAC and the certification gets delayed, or export controls snap into place, they're stuck with jets they can't fly. Suddenly, €59 tickets aren't just threatened by tariffs. They're held hostage by geopolitics. So what's the cost of this gamble? Ryanair's 330-jet deal has a list value near $40 billion, even after usual discounts. Boeing earns roughly $1.5 million per jet in profit. Canceling would erase around $5 billion in future earnings. And that's before aftermarket revenue, a key stream worth around $15 billion a year to Boeing. Losing the Ryanair fleet could kill another $2 billion in long-term parts and maintenance income. Market shockwaves ahead. We've seen this movie before. In a single day, Boeing shares have plunged up to 8% after minor incidents abroad. Analysts say a Ryanair walkout could wipe $12 billion off Boeing's market cap overnight. Suppliers are bracing, too. Spirit AeroSystems already froze overtime and warned of potential layoffs. Forging unions fear pink slips within 6 weeks if Boeing slashes production. Moody's has its eye on Boeing's debt, currently near $57 billion. Cash flow is thin. A shock like this could trigger a credit downgrade. But the reputation risk may sting even more. If Boeing can't hold onto its most loyal discount buyer, who's next to defect? The Airbus and COMAC playbook. Airlines are watching and acting. EasyJet just locked in 157 Airbus jets, crediting rival quotes for the discount. Lufthansa added environmental surcharges to tickets, then demanded deeper cuts from suppliers. Air France now runs side-by-side bid models, one for Airbus, one for COMAC, just to keep everyone honest. Even though COMAC can't fly in Europe yet, the threat is real. Beijing is scaling up 50 C919s in 2025, rising to 150 annually within 5 years. IBA forecasts a global 10% narrow-body market share by 2030. 3 paths forward. Airlines now plan around 3 possible futures. Washington backs down, drops metal tariffs, and Boeing stabilizes. Boeing slashes prices, bleeds margin, but holds market share. COMAC wins approval post-2028, triggering a full 3-way price war. Every route spells higher costs for someone, whether it's consumers, suppliers, or taxpayers. A €5 hike may not sound like much, but scale that over 900 million European passengers and the total bill surpasses €4 billion. Boeing's narrow runway. Boeing's next moves are critical. Reopen tariff talks with Brussels. Secure a ceiling below the 10% EU baseline. Ramp up 737 MAX 10 production, from 38 to 47 jets monthly, ideally by 2025. Partner on sustainable aviation fuel, with ExxonMobil scaling SAF production in France. Boeing could gain green credentials fast. But time is running out. Industry insiders say if Boeing doesn't rebuild trust by Paris Air Show 2027, it could lose its shot at reclaiming 40% of global market share. So let's end with a question. Would you pay $20 more to protect American aerospace jobs? Or if COMAC offered 15% cheaper tickets, would you pocket the savings? Because this isn't just a tariff war. It's a full-blown aerospace realignment. Ryanair's letter rocked Boeing. Trump's tariffs cut deep, and COMAC is circling, waiting for its European entry point. Will this be a bluff for better prices? Or the first strike of a three-polar sky war? Hit subscribe and stay with Capital Crisis before the next geoeconomic twist lands at your boarding gate.